Hello, welcome to this channel and back with me Arfa. In this video, I will explain you the method of teaching one of the most important skills in English, speaking. But before I explain you the method of teaching speaking skill, we need answer some questions to make us understand well about speaking skill and the teaching of speaking skill. The first question is, what is speaking skill? The second question, why should we teach speaking skill? And the last question, how we teach speaking skill. So, let's answer the first question. What is speaking skill? I believe that all of you already know what is speaking skill. One of the researchers, Jenny, said, speaking is the process of building and sharing meaning through the use of verbal and non-verbal symbols in a variety of contexts. We can say that the speaking is the use of language orally to giving information to others. The second question, why we should teach speaking skill? Well, there are some purposes teaching speaking skill to the student inside the classroom. The first and the main purpose is student could listen and respond to teachers and classmates. Of course, the main purpose of teaching speaking skill to student is so the student could give us a feedback or maybe a question to us as a teacher during the learning process of English language. And also the student can do conversation with their classmate using English language. The second purpose is build student vocabulary. Some research says that one of the most effective way to build student vocabulary is through practice, and the practice process can be done by doing speaking English. The third purpose is student could use spoken language to express feelings, give explanation, and describe something. The next purpose is student could ask questions to increase their understanding. And the last purpose is student could understand formal and informal speech. Of course, teaching speaking skill, the teacher are expected that the student not only use the skill inside the classroom but also outside the classroom, such as speech contest. The next question is how we teach speaking skill. There are some methods that can be used to teaching speaking skill. The first and the common method is picture describing. The second method is role play. This method can be done by doing a drama or maybe mini theater. The next method is storytelling. The next is drilling. This method, drilling, is the commonly used at the elementary school or junior high school. The next is singing. This is indirect way to teaching speaking English. This is the indirect way to teaching speaking skill. And the last method is language games, such as Guess Me. Well, I'm not gonna explain you all of these methods, but I'll explain you the two most common used methods to teaching speaking skill. The first method is picture describing. Describing picture is one activity in learning how to speak English by describing pictures in front of the class to train students' imagination and retell stories in speaking English. I think you already understand about this method, so here are some steps in picture describing. The first step is prepare pictures. Of course, the pictures that the teachers need to choose can be based of the material. For example, the material is about describe something. We, as a teacher, we can prepare a picture of a fruit or animal, a place, or maybe a person. And make sure that the picture it has a high quality and easy to understand. The next, after preparing pictures, we need to explain the activity to the students. This activity commonly at the start of a learning process. We should explain to the student what we are going to do today, what the role of the student, what are their tasks, and also what the role of us as a teacher. The next is choose one student to describe picture. We can show a picture, one picture, and then choosing student randomly and ask them to describing the picture that we hold. And the next step is evaluate the student's answer. This evaluate can be done by the teacher together with the students. And the third, also fourth, steps can be overplay until all of the student has their opportunities to describing a picture that showed by the teacher. The next is the advantage and disadvantage of picture describing. The first advantage is pictures are inexpensive and widely available. In the modern era, it is not hard to find a picture because we have a Wi-Fi connection or data connection around Indonesia, and it's easy for us to download a picture at the internet. The second is pictures provide common experiences for an entire student. The next advantage, picture can help prevent misunderstanding. While pictures give a clear picture makes a clear figure of an object or maybe a sequence of event, and make the student a less misunderstanding about something that is spoke by the teacher. And the last advantage is pictures help the students to focus and active in the class. Of course, because picture describing is an interesting activity, the student will focus to their learning activity and active in the class. When there are disadvantages, of course there are disadvantages. The first disadvantage is sometimes teachers find it difficult to find suitable picture. Although downloading picture is easy, but sometimes we cannot download a photo that suit with the material that they saw. We need a lot of effort to find a picture that suit with a material. The second, there are needed facilities, support, equipment, and enough cost. Well, if describing pictures, we need something to show it, not only just handphone or maybe a laptop because it's small. We need bigger photos, so the teacher can use an LCD. But the LCD or the projector is quite expensive, especially for the school that at the rural area. The next is they need a long time in the learning process because this is performance-based method, so the learning process will take a long time to perform the students one by one. And the last disadvantage is need an extra classroom management. Well, because performance-based method is a risk at the noise of the class, so the teacher should manage the students well. The second method that I will explain to you is storytelling. Storytelling is a teaching method in which the students are asked to retell the content of the stories in different word construction by involving a certain interaction between the storyteller and the listener. Here are the steps at the storytelling. The first step is explaining the activity. As a teacher, we should explaining what we are going to do today, what are the students' tasks, and so on. The second step is tell a story. The story can come from the textbook or maybe from the internet. The next, we can ask 1 or 2 students to tell story in front of the class and make sure that the student use their own language. The next is evaluate the performance. In this process, we could make a correction of a false or wrong information and also give a recommendation about how to retell a story with the students' own language well. And the last step is storytelling 1 by 1. This method can also be a testing speaking skill of a student because the student need to performance 1 by 1. The next is the advantage and disadvantage of storytelling. The first advantage is exercise students to be imaginative in the story. Because the storytelling activity not showing a picture, so it will make students thinking about maybe the picture of the character or the sequence of events at the story. The second, train to develop and practice to memorize the English language. Well, to retelling story, well, we need to remember the information, also the sequence of the events, and maybe the characters of the story. So this storytelling method train the memorize system of a student's brain. The next is trains the student's ability to concentrate, because without concentration, the students won't understand the story well. The next is disadvantage. The first disadvantage is monotonous. Well, the storytelling is just a boring method, because in this method, the students just need to listen the story well and then retelling the story. And it's kind of bored if we comparing it with others methods. The next is hard to apply for basic or intermediate students, because this method need a high understanding. If our students are in the basic or intermediate level, it will very hard to do these methods. The next is less questioning and less active participation, because in storytelling activity, the student just need to listen and then retelling a story, so it will decreasing the active role of a student in the classroom. Okay, that's all the methods that I explained to you. And after we answer all of this question, I will show you how to applying one of the methods that I explained, that is picture describing method or picture describing practice in the classroom.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good morning students. How are you today?
Good morning. I am fine, thank you. And you?
Oh, I am feeling great. Okay. So before start the lesson, let's pray first. Pray start. Finish. Okay, before starting the lesson, I would like to check your attendance list. Please raise your hand and say yes, I am when I call your name. Aida?
Yes, I am.
Desta?
Yes, I am.
Sinta?
Yes, I am.
And last, Benny?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So, the last meeting, we already learned about how to describe a thing. So, in this meeting, I want you to practice the knowledge from the last meeting by describing something, by describing picture that I already prepared. Jadi di pertemuan kali ini kita akan mendeskripsikan benda, bisa animal, bisa person dan juga thing. Jadi di sini saya sudah menyiapkan gambar. Nah, nanti akan saya tunjuk randomly dan silahkan mendeskripsikan. Nggak usah takut salah karena di sini nanti kita akan evaluate dan discuss it bareng with our friend. Okay, let's start. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, good. The first is this picture. Sorry. Okay. Mbak Weni, can you describe it?
It is a star fruit. The color is yellow. The taste is sweet, and the shape is like a star.
Okay, good. Did anyone want to add Mbak Weni's sentence?
For the next minute, I asked another students to describe another picture that I already prepared and discuss her answer with others. And I will replay this step until all of the students in the class has opportunity to describing picture. The class closed with an applause both from the students and teachers and greeting from the teacher. And don't forget to remind the students about to learn the next chapter for the next meeting. I'm sorry I can't show you the last step because my video or my file turned out corrupt when I want to edit it in the last time, and unfortunately I have no time and I have another reason, so I cannot retake the new video and all of the stuff, especially to Mem Rofi. I hope you understand my condition and I deeply apologize to you. And once again, I'm sorry to all of you who watch this video. Thanks for watching and see you at another video. Bye bye.